I had said that St. Lawrence Central was going to be a team to be reckoned with.
We're not naive enough to think we're going to be able to go out there and run it right down their throats the whole game. I mean, they're tough. They're a very good football team. They've proven that.
Production Sports here as we bring you our pregame show for the sectional game coming up here between the St. Lawrence Larrys, who are visiting the Massena Central Red Raiders. I'm Chad Evers along with Jamie Davis. We welcome you along. Jamie, looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting weekend.
Well, it should be, Chad. A lot of people are probably wondering, you know, what happened to the St. Lawrence Larrys the last time they played the Massena Red Raiders. Well, let's take a look back before this year. Let's take a look back to last year. Remember last year, SLC had a winless season.
Yes,
they got into the Tier 2 playoffs, and they upset the Watertown Cyclones. So this is not going to be the same St. Lawrence Larrys team that we've seen coming into the playoffs here. It's going to be an entirely different team, I'm sure.
Definitely. Coach Tim Hayes has to be pretty happy with the way things have gone this year. They've got a really good running team. They've got a good rushing team. Their offensive and defensive lines have been doing a good job this year. They just had an impressive win against Malone. Of course, Malone was last place in the league, but they also got a chance to work on some new plays last weekend. And Massena, of course, just destroying Potsdam, just not even a contest there. But St. Lawrence comes in with a passing attack also, which is something that's been deadly throughout the year for the St. Lawrence Larrys. And I think it's going to be an interesting game this weekend. The first time these two teams met, I think there was a little bit of an intimidation factor there with St. Lawrence coming in, playing underneath the lights, and playing the Massena, who was just, just incredible this year. The best way you put it was earlier today, you're better off going down, standing next to the highway and trying to jump in front of a tractor trailer and stop it. Yeah. And that's what it's been like for most of these teams, and all the teams actually this year in the NAC for Massena. But it should be a little bit of a different game, I think, this time when St. Lawrence comes in.
Well, I think it will, Chad, and I still say you go back to last year and you look at a winless St. Lawrence Central Larry squad. You know, it's kind of hard to go into the playoffs and going into the playoffs with no wins at all, and then turn around and defeat a team of the caliber the Cyclones had last year, which was a pretty good team. They were, middle of the pack team.
Oh yeah.
But still the same, going in there with no wins at all, and then being able to turn it around like that. That's really something. They're almost up against the same thing this time if you really look at that. They're up against a powerhouse in Massena.
It'll be a big upset if St. Lawrence can do it. Now, you know, we take a look at the last game and the last time these two teams met. You know, there was an intimidation factor there, but if you get rid of that whole first half, and that's where I think the intimidation came in. Stepping in there, they knew what they were up against. They knew it was going to be a hard-fought battle, but I think, Massena come out so explosive it caught them by surprise. Next thing you know, there's 30 points on the board. But if you take a look at that second half, if you got rid of that first half, it was a tie game. At the end of that game, each team only scored a touchdown in that second half.
It was an even game.
That's right. So I think if St. Lawrence can come out and stop Massena's powerful offense, and it's not going to be an easy job, and Coach Tim Hayes and his coaches, they're actually playing this week and practicing this week over at the baseball field at the arena under the lights all this week, because they don't want to get caught in the lights again. He said it's like playing a whole different game when you play under the lights, and he said the kids weren't used to it, and it caught him by surprise, and he hopes that by practicing underneath the lights over at the arena in Tri-Town this week is going to help the kids get used to the lights and not be overwhelmed when they come into Massena on Friday.
Oh, certainly, and that's, I'm glad you brought that out, because Tim Hayes mentioned to us before the start of the Malone Huskies game that they played last week that they've got to get something going under the lights. I mean, they kind of had a problem with that, and this is a good idea. I think this is a big plus for Tim Hayes. You also got to remember that Tim ran an awful lot of plays, and we were over there the last time Massena and St. Lawrence met. You notice that Tim Hayes is working on an awful lot of different plays, trying to confuse the opposition, Massena, as best as he possibly could, just completely confuse them entirely so they didn't know what exactly was coming at them, so they had no way of lining up that defense of Massena's, which has been tough all year.
Oh, yeah. You know, Timmy Hayes has got, what did they say, they ran 100 and something plays one game?
Yeah.
I mean, for a small school like that, he's got to have some talent out there to be able to play and do the different plays and run the different plays that they do. And the good thing about it this year for St. Lawrence and Coach Tim Hayes is the kids have been executing it. They've been doing it, and it's been working. And sometimes when you get into a lot of plays like that, it confuses the kids, and sometimes it's more devastating to your program than it is
We saw that during practice. Remember,
That's right.
We saw that when he was working.
They had some tough times.
Morrow, I think he was working with him on a post pattern or something.
Confused because he thought he was supposed to be running one pattern or another. But but this is something that has worked out very well for Coach Tim Hayes this year, because he's been able to mix up his offense. And what it does is, in the past, Coach Tim Hayes has only had one runner or two runners, or a quarterback that could throw the ball but not a receiver, or he had two running backs that could catch the ball, so all the team had to do was come in and say, okay, all we're going to do all game is we're just going to make sure we follow these two players, and we won the game. Well, Coach Tim Hayes comes into the league this year. People probably come in to play St. Lawrence again and say, well, okay, let's just key on their backs. Whoever they have in the backfield, that's their whole team. Well, they start keying on the backfield. The next thing you know, the ball's over their head, and it's in the arms of a person like Jeremy Collette.
Well, that's the kind of game, Chad,
Excuse me,
that I thought we were going to see the first time they played. I thought we were going to see a very confused secondary for Massena, but not so. They came right in, and they did an excellent job of shutting down the passing. We noticed that right out of the blocks, and I guessed it right off the bat. I knew that he would go up on top, that Chris Ward would go up on top to Jeremy Collette right off the bat, and that sideline pattern that they do so well, where they shoot Jeremy Collette down the sideline and hit him on the dead run. And it has worked very well for him. It didn't quite seem to click. But what I was impressed with was the fact that Massena covered up on their secondary so well. They did an excellent job in their secondary that day.
Well, now that you mention that, we can start to kick in our analyzing, I guess you can call it, of the Massena Red Raiders. Defensively, incredible. They've got every player in that team plays their position so well. And they're so intimidating. You've got the Flynn boy, who's got I think he's leading in interceptions now, Jamie. I know he tied against St. Lawrence. I think he's leading now in interceptions. You've got Corey David, who just punishes people on defense. Just absolutely just he's like a bulldozer. I mean, when you hit him, it's like hitting a brick wall. And when he hits you, he just doesn't put you on the ground. He makes sure that you're going to get up, and you're going to get up and feel it for the next 3 plays.
Also, you can't forget the fellas that we don't hear anything of, like Jim Morrell. You know, we didn't start hearing about Jim Morrell until about halfway through the season, Chad. Right. And then all of a sudden, here's Jim Morrell quite a bit. And take a look at their backfield. They haven't got just two in the backfield that do, I guess you'd call it, doing all the work, which a lot of teams do. They have two major rushers on the team.
That's what I mean. Usually have two players that can...
They have 5 rushers. Now it's kind of hard to follow a pattern of any kind with 5 different people in your backfield. They may not surround all their plays around 2. They surround them around 5
That's right.
different men.
And we've seen several players come off the bench and jump in there and play, and and we're like, well, who's this? Whoa, look at him go, So Massena's definitely got the offense and the defense. Let's talk about the main part of the Massena Red Raider team. And from my standpoint, I'm not a big football buff. I don't know that much about football, being a soccer player and being from a soccer family. I do watch a little bit of college football on television. I really like watching the college football. To me, what makes Massena Red Raiders team so powerful and so dominating this year is they've got some really large guys that play offensively and defensively on those lines, and without them, they wouldn't be the team that they are. I'm not taking anything away from your Morrells and your Fauchets and your Corey Davids running the ball and your Rochford throwing the ball and Bobby Flynn, but let's face it, folks, the reason that these running backs are getting the yardage they are is because the guys that are on the line have to be probably some of the best linemen that Massena's seen in the last couple years.
You've also
there's number one,
220 pounds plus all the way across. But that's not only there.
That's right.
That's in back of them too.
That's right.
If they get in an I formation, their running backs, there's 3 out of the 5 that are 200 plus pounds.
That's right.
You get in an I formation, you've got one fella in front of you who you're trying to get through there and stop anybody getting out of that backfield. You get hit by 220 pounds, you get hit by 220 pounds again, the first man through who's blocking for somebody else behind him in the I formation, and then here comes another 220 pounds behind him. No wonder the holes open up the way they do. That's like trying to stop 3 tractor trailers. You're not going to do it.
That's right.
It's too tough. But
that's why people like Fauchet's getting 7 yards a carry. That's his average. 7 yards a carry. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. 7 yards a carry.
That's great.
That's right. Well, it is. I mean, you take a look at Jeff Chateau for St. Lawrence Central, not doing bad, but 5.6 yards for an average. But getting back to that line, the key to it this year, Massena's always had big linemen. But what I feel is the key to their season this year is these linemen are quick. They're not slower linemen like we've seen in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And like you see from a lot of the bigger linemen, they can do their job on the line, but if you get 10 yards out from where they're supposed to be, they can't get the job done. The Massena linemen, offensively and defensively, are big, and they're fast, and they're quick, and that's the difference.
If you take a look at your films, you run them back, all you got to do is watch your films. Of course, with that great wireless camera we've got from the sideline, you can see them. They get off that line, and they're like a bullet.
That's right.
And all of those men on the offensive line are very agile.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised down the road, as much as Coach Tony DiAgostino runs the ball as much as he does, that somewhere along the line here, maybe a sophomore, maybe a junior or something, next year he's going to have a Walter Perry or a refrigerator in the backfield somewhere by the goal line. I can see this coming somewhere. He's going to think this over maybe and say, you know, Jamie, that might not be a bad idea. We've done everything else. But you've got to look at that. Yeah, Chad, that's a major thing. Size-wise, overall, they're good. But where there's size in Massena and they are quick, St. Lawrence Central is very quick.
I was just going to bring that up next. You know, St. Lawrence Central is probably the only team in the league that I can think of from the stats that we've made up, and that's where I get the chance to see the numbers is making up our stats and the players and stuff. But St. Lawrence Central is the only team that I can think of this year that comes in with a line that's the same size as Massena, lacking maybe one or two players.
Well, there's only one other team that I know of that's like that. There's two, really. But there's the Watertown Cyclones and
yeah, but when
OFA, but it's not.
But Watertown didn't have as big a line as St. Lawrence Central.
No, not this year.
And that's what I'm talking about. This year, getting down to this game that we're about to show you here on Edwards Production Sports, the Massena, St. Lawrence Central, NAC playoff game here. Whoever wins this one goes to the finals in the NAC. Okay, you've got a team that's undefeated all year. You got a team that's come in and like you've said, you know, they're kind of a phantom team. They come into this 5-4 now.
Yeah, I think
5-4, something like that. They come into this game 5-4 or no?
Well, they were 3-2 going into that game against.
So that
Massena.
made them 3-3. So they're 4-3. They're 4-3 going into this game.
They're a little above 500 ball, but
like you said, they're kind of a phantom team because they've got the linemen that can do the job against Massena, and we saw that in the second half of the game they played here.
It's like a whole different team in that.
That's right, because St. Lawrence held them, and this is the only team. Ogdensburg didn't have it. Malone didn't have it. Potsdam didn't have it.
Nope.
Watertown didn't have it. Governor didn't have it. They didn't have the linemen that are the same size as St. Lawrence Central, and I think that's going to be a difference in this game.
Well, OFA did one thing that I thought was incredible, and I don't know of anybody that had done it all year, and that was hold them to 16 points, I believe. They're the only ones that I've seen even come close yet to putting a stop to them. Even though they got beat 16-0, they still held their defense held them down to 16 points. And, of course, OFA is going to be playing Governor in the other Tier 1 matchup. And one of those teams, whoever comes out of that matchup, is going to have one of these tough teams to stop.
That's right.
One's very, very quick. The other one has a size advantage. And it's this game today, this is going to be a whole different game, I think, than what everybody saw the last time they played. It's going to be different.
We're kind of running out of time here, Jamie, for our pregame show.
And I got good seat tickets. I
got better.
You got better? Yes, you do.
What's your prediction? What's your prediction on tonight's game?
Well, I don't think, Chad, we're going to see, like I said, we're not going to see the same game that we saw before. I think that if you take a look at the depth that Massena has, though, I think that kind of overshadows things for St. Lawrence Central a little bit. If St. Lawrence Central can get a couple of good passes off and get down the field and move that ball, they're going to give them a hard time. But I'm taking a look at a final score of 28-21 Massena, and the only reason why is because of the depth on the Massena squad. Yep. I think that St. Lawrence Central can put the points on the board, and I think they're going to this time through. I don't think it's going to be anything like we saw the last time, especially the way Coach Tim Hayes is working on his crew. But I'm looking at a score 28-21 Massena. going into tonight's matchup.
Okay, I have to agree with you that it's not going to be the same game as before. I think St. Lawrence is over that intimidation factor. Coach Tim Hayes is getting them used to the lights all this week. I think they're going to come in and they're going to play the game that St. Lawrence Central has played all year against all the other teams other than Massena. I'm not going to say the score is going to be as high. I'm going to say 21-14. I'm going to have to say Massena because of the powerhouse, but I think it's going to be tied at halftime. So I think St. Lawrence at halftime is going to show Massena that they're in this game and that they're going to stand them up. But I predict the final score 21-14 Massena, only because they've got a heck of a season behind them so far, and they've got the seniors and the players, and nothing against St. Lawrence. But I think this is just a year for Massena. So 21-14, Jamie.
Okay, I'm looking forward to the game. How about you?
I'm looking forward to it, too. We want to thank you for joining us here for our pregame show for tonight's NAC playoff action game, where the St. Lawrence Larrys are visiting Massena here at the Mike Nicholas Field. For Jamie Davis, I'm Chad Edwards. We'll take you out to the field now with Chip Chapman, and guess what? Jamie's going to make this phantom appearance. We'll take you out to the field now with Jamie and Chip Chapman.
Hi again, football fans. Chip Chapman along with Jamie Davis. And tonight, the St. Lawrence Central Larrys and Massena Central Red Raiders. Here we go.
Well, here we go again.
Right.
This time, I'm sure St. Lawrence is hoping that the results will be a lot different. They've been playing very good football the last couple of weeks out. And really, the only bad defeat that they've had here recently was against the Massena Red Raiders.
Red Raiders won by 26.
Yes, they did. But I think we're going to see a different ball game altogether, as, of course, Chad Edwards and I talked about in the pregame show, that I think you're going to see a different Larry's team coming into this game tonight.
This game features, 5 of the top 10 running backs in the Northern Athletic Conference, and Sean Fauché has taken over the rushing lead in the NAC.
Yes, he had. A couple of other fellas have dropped off the pace that were right up there with the Massena Red Raiders, but when you've got a backfield like they do with 5 different offensive rushers all the time, well, it's kind of easy to have things kind of change around a little bit as far as the standing skill.
Jeff Chateau and Justin Morrow are number 3 and 4 in the NAC in rushing. So, once again, these two teams, number 1 and number 2 in offense, as Massena Central number 1 through the whole season, and St. Lawrence Central number 2. And you'll see a lot of running here tonight.
Oh, I'm sure you will. You'll also see an awful lot of passing, I think, maybe a little bit more out of Massena than you think you're going to see. I think that Massena, or of course the St. Lawrence Larrys, are going to try to key on that running game of Massena's. They're going to try to put a stop to it if they can and try to contain that backfield from getting out of there and getting going. It's kind of hard to do against that front line of Massena's, but that's what they're going to try to do. Of course, there's always that threat of Chris Ward going into Jeremy Collette down the sideline or something, and I'll tell you, that's a pretty tough combination to beat right there.
It'll be interesting here tonight to see if St. Lawrence Central can keep Bobby Flynn, if Bobby Flynn is playing in this football game. He has an ankle injury, but it'll be interesting if they can keep him isolated, keep him away from where they want to throw the football.
Well, I'll tell you, Bobby Flynn, he reminds me a lot of Bob Brazil. A lot of you remember him in the NFL with the Houston Oilers. He was a vicious defensive player, but he was a great one, and Bobby Flynn definitely has caught, I think, everybody's eye as far as defense goes right now.
Well, let's see if it's going to be a different game than it was a couple weeks ago when the Massena Central Red Raiders won by 26 over St. Lawrence Central. We'll have the opening kickoff and the play-by-play of this playoff Northern Athletic Conference playoff football game. Right after this, you're watching Edwards Production Sports.
NAC Football and Edwards Production Sports is brought to you today by Club 37, located on Tripany Road, Massena. World of Color, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. By Landerville's Groceries, located on East Dover Street in Massena. Massena Building Supply, located on Water Street in Massena. Bob Post Insurance Agency, located on Maple Street in Massena. Frenchie Chevrolet Olds and Geo, located on East Dover Street in Massena. Lou Royal and Brazier Quick Stop, located on Route 11 across from the arena in Brazier Falls. Michelex Plastics. Great Northern Outfitters, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Susie Travel, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Hotel Netto, located on Andrew Street in Massena. And by WB Goodnow Insurance Agency, located on Route 11 in Brazier Falls. Once again, thank you to all of our sponsors, bringing you NAC Football today here on Edwards Production Sports.
Welcome back to Mike Nicholas Field. Chip Chapman and Jamie Davis, delighted to have you with us for Northern Athletic Conference playoff football action. Jamie, the Massena Central Red Raiders coming into this football game undefeated during the regular season. 7 wins, no losses. St. Lawrence Central 4-3 on the season. St. Lawrence Central ended up in 4th place during the regular season. Therefore, they got the bid of taking on the Massena Central Red Raiders here. A Red Raider team that are number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense in the Northern Athletic Conference. There you get a look at the St. Lawrence Central starting offense in this football game. Chris Ward will be the starting quarterback. Mike Bressert is set to kick off for the Massena Central Red Raiders. A couple of changes in the lineup, Jamie. We'll talk about that when we show it on the screen. We are set for playoff football action. Mike Bressert with a kickoff, and it's Jeff Chateau at about his own, call it 8-yard line. Chateau finds a hole. Chateau gets over the 30 to about the 33. Good field position. That's where St. Lawrence Central will take over, 1st and 10.
Well, Chateau with that bobble, and it looked as if that might have panned out pretty good. It had everybody fooled after he bobbled the ball just a little bit.
Here's the Massena Central Red Raider defense, and a couple of changes here. There you see Jamie Mock and Tim Carbon on the defensive ends. Frank Kutzikuri and Brian Bartow will be the tackles. Mike Bressert is also tackle. Sean Fauché, Corey David, the linebackers, Mike Dion, Ryan Kerwin. Bobby Flynn not in the lineup to start this game. He still has that bad ankle, and taking his place is Austin Rush, number 42. Justin Morrow was the ball carrier. Morrow with a pickup of about 5.
St. Lawrence right into a hurry-up offense already, and whistle blowing.
St. Lawrence Central want to get off to a better start than they started in the first game. We have a timeout here because we have an equipment timeout. That looks like Mark Villeneuve.
And I think Mark had some grass up in there. I think that's what they were getting out of there.
The Larrys give to Jeff Chateau running outside. He has some daylight, but there's a flag down on the play.
Jeff Chateau, what he does best, he gets around that corner and he can really go. There he is, Jeff Chateau, 5 foot 8 inches, 155 pounds, and man, when this gentleman gets to the outside and gets around the end, you better stop him.
Corey Lejam in on the tackle for the Red Raiders, and they're going to count this one off, mark this one off against St. Lawrence Central.
Tough break for the Larrys. They had a nice run back on the kickoff, and then that nice run, and penalty has marched him back a bit.
So they'll play second down over again, but a 15-yarder assessed against St. Lawrence Central. Chris Ward hands the ball off. Not much running room this time. Justin Morrow stopped by Brian Bartow and Sean Fauché. It looks like it was Jeff Chateau and not Justin Morrow.
Larry's into that hurry-up offense once again, and no, sir. They decided not to do it.
Yeah, it looked like Chris Ward wasn't happy with something, so he just said, guys, let's go back and rally the troops here.
There's nothing wrong with that hurry-up offense. You know, the New York Giants 2 years ago, boy, it really proved great for them in the NFL.
Buffalo Bills use it quite a bit. Chris Ward to pass the football. It's caught by Jeremy Collette. Corey David tackled Chris Ward after he let go of the football.
The crowd is really fired up for this one. There's Jeremy Collette right there. 5 foot 9 inches, 150 pounds, and he is definitely a threat in the receiving department.
Corey David, a question mark coming into this game with his tender ankle. We'll have to see if he can play the entire game here tonight. Bobby Flynn, as we mentioned, not starting. Bobby Flynn's ankle bothering him, so Austin Rush has taken his place. Larry's forced to punt. Chris Ward back to kick. It's not a very deep one, but it's a high one. It takes a Massena Central bounce, and finally downing it for the St. Lawrence Central Larrys at around midfield is Ryan Rust, and that's where the Massena Central Red Raiders will go 1st and 10.
Good thing Rust was where he was. That ball really took a flip backwards there, really in the favor of the Massena Red Raiders. Good thing he was on the spot.
They mark it at the St. Lawrence Central 48-yard line.
Coach Tony DiAgostino, chip along the sideline there. A perfect season of the regular season for Coach DiAgostino.
P.J. Rochford at quarterback, And in motion is Austin Rush, and he's the ball carrier. And Austin Rush does tackle, but not before he picks up some nice yards. Mike Thompson in on the tackle.
There's your rushing leaders in the NAC. Sean Fauché, of course, on top. 827 yards. Wow, that is a lot of yards. Of course, Chateau and Morrow holding down the number 3 and 4 spots. Rush in 6th. 5 out of the top 10 are here this evening.
Austin Rush with a gain of about 5, and it's second down, and it's Morrell, the ball carrier. Jim Morrell picks up maybe 1 on the play. We'll call it third and a long 3 for Massena Central, as Corey David semi-limps off the field, Jamie. There you get a look at Mike Barton, a tight end for the Massena Central Red Raiders.
There's Jim Morrell. We've heard a lot about him in the second half of the season, Chip.
Jim Morrell had played a little bit more with the injury to Corey David. Larry's looked like they moved. Oh! A big hit right there. John Rassus.
John Rassus doing something that I think Coach Tim Hayes has been pounding into these fellas all this past week. You got to contain them in the backfield, and that is what he's looking for, is that play right there.
And the Massena Central Red Raiders will be forced to punt, and John Rassus with a big tackle there. Rassus, one of the leading tacklers in the Northern Athletic Conference, 48.
And that is something that I don't think, Chip, anybody has done this season, has caught them in the backfield that quickly like that.
Now back to punt, Mike Bressard. Bressard, number 3 in punting in the NAC, as Bressard was averaging about 34 yards per punt. Good coverage downfield by the Massena Central Red Raiders.
Excellent coverage downfield by the Raiders there, Chip. They did a great job of getting to Jeremy Collette before he had a chance to head for the sideline and turn upfield.
And it looks like about the 15-yard line is where St. Lawrence Central will begin. First and 10. So each team has not been very successful, Jamie, on their first offensive series of this football game. 7:18 remaining here in our first quarter.
Joe Chateau on the carry right there, Chip. I think we may see the St. Lawrence Larrys run the ball just a little bit more this game than I think we saw them run in the last game. They were very successful in the second half the last time they played Massena with their running game, with both Chateau and Morrow in the backfield, and I think we may see a little more of that in this game here.
Chateau had 136 yards against Massena and 2 touchdowns. In the last game, 56 of those yards were in the second half, when the Red Raiders may have been taking a look at some different players at that time with a big lead that they had in that football game. Jeff Chateau, the ball carrier once again. He picks up maybe a yard. We'll call it third, and once again a long 3.
And they are running the ball right at him, Chip. The Larrys are taking it right to him early here. There's Mike Dion, 5'11" inches, 150 pounds. He's been a big key player for the Massena Red Raiders this season,
especially on defense. So third down and 3. Larry's in the eye. Jeff Chateau, the ball carrier, and he gets first down yardage as he gets over the 25 down to about the 27-yard line.
This is a very much fired up Larry squad right now. Their running game is going along nicely.
Coaching staff, of course, had a chance to take a look at a lot of game film and whatnot. I'm sure they were making adjustments. There you see part of the Massena Brain Trust with Alzi Nicola and Tony DiAgostino talking things over. Larry's a little outlet pass to Justin Morrow, and Morrow gets close to the 40-yard line, over the 40 that is, to about the 42, and another first down.
Nice little short pass out to the side to Morrow out of the backfield, and Morrow able to run it down the sideline. There's Coach Tony DiAgostino and Coach Nicola along the sidelines there.
First and 10 from about the 42-yard line of St. Lawrence Central. Justin Morrow is met and tackled by Sean Fauché.
Larry's moving the ball nicely here, Chip.
They are moving the football, and that's what they need to do. They need to score early in this football game to get some, to have some momentum to carry them in this football game, Jamie. Sean Fauché has had an outstanding season this year for the Massena Central Red Raiders in on that tackle a moment ago. Now it's Chris Ward on the option. Decides to keep the football, and Sean Fauché is there once again to make the tackle.
Very dangerous play. The St. Lawrence Larrys, they can work that option very well, Chip. You and I have had a front row seat for that option all season long watching the St. Lawrence Larrys, and they are very, very good at it. I don't think we've seen them fumble the ball in that option too much at all this season. Chance to look at some of the crowd we have here, and once again, Chip, another big crowd.
Yes, and it's a late arriving crowd, Jamie, as we were wondering if the game was starting a little bit later than we thought. Chris Ward being chased out of the pocket by Bartow. He's going to keep it. Ward now tackled by Tim Carbonell. And a good tackle by Carbonell as Chris Ward was forced out of the pocket that time by Brian Bartow.
Ward is not afraid to run the ball at all. Let's watch it again on the replay. Ward is back to pass. He's back to pass. He decides to keep that ball. And around the corner he comes, and you know what? At the tail end of that play,
there was a penalty, and it was against Massena for a face mask, it looks like. Yes, face mask, 15 yards, and it's a St. Lawrence Central first down.
Back to that replay again. I don't think Chris Ward thought that Massena player was going to catch up to him. I think he was a little surprised that he did. Ward thought he'd turned the corner and was free of everybody. But the Massena player, good pursuit on that.
So St. Lawrence there, you get a look at Sean Fauché, who appears to be injured. Sean Fauché was in on a couple of tackles in this series so far, but the trainer,
I think,
Victor Donaldson. Well, we have this break. We're going to take a break. 4:13 remaining. We're scoreless. We'll be back right after this.
Enjoy a delicious meal in a relaxing atmosphere, along with a price you can afford at the Club 37 on Tripoli Road in Massena. The Club 37 offers daily lunch and dinner specials, open Monday through Friday for lunch 11 till 4, Tuesday through Sunday for dinner from 4 till 10. They specialize in seafood, steaks, and Italian food. Fine food and all your favorite beverages is what you'll find when you visit the Club 37 on Tripoli Road in Massena. Landerville Groceries and Bottle Center would like to welcome you in. Landerville's Groceries can give you great savings on all the groceries you need so you can fill your cupboards without emptying your wallet. Find great prices on all your favorite beverages and cigarettes, too. And don't forget to take advantage of their bottle return center, where you'll always get prompt, courteous service with a smile. Landerville's Groceries and Bottle Center, conveniently located at 301 East Orvis Street in Massena.
Here we are back. Jeff Chateau, the ball carrier, picks up a few yards. Brian Bartow in on a tackle. Brian Bartow had a quarterback sack against Watertown.
Big break for the Larrys on that face mask penalty, eh, Chip?
Yes, big play. It was a third down that the Larrys were faced with, and grabbing the face mask was the penalty against Massena, and they marked off 15 yards, and the Larrys have the ball now at about the Massena 37-yard line. Chris Ward fakes. Oh, and he was hit by Brian Bartow just as he was getting ready to let go of that ball intended for Jeremy Collette.
Boy, I'll tell you, Chip, that was quite a crunch by Bartow right there.
Let's take a look at Jeff Chateau on this play if we see it again. Jamie, Jeff Chateau appeared to have run into his quarterback in the backfield as Chris Ward was setting up to throw the football. There you get a good look at Brian Bartow. So now the Larrys are faced with a third down and call it a long 8. Chris Ward hands off to Jeff Chateau. Chateau is met by Tim Carbonell. Carbonell gets some help that time by Nick Lazarchuk, and he is taken down.
Tim Carbonell has made a couple of good tackles here just within the last 3 or 4 plays for the Red Raiders.
So it is now, as a matter of fact, Chateau lost a couple yards on the play, so it is now 4th down. And the Larrys appear to be going for it. They go out of the I formation. And Chris Ward is dropping back. And Ward plays the ball over the head of Jamie Mock. And there to snuff that play out was Mike Dion.
Well, the play worked pretty good for the St. Lawrence Larrys, but that Massena secondary coming up in and shutting things down, and the Red Raiders will get the ball back. Watch it once again. Nice pass by Ward, nice delicate pass, but you're not going to turn that corner as number 24 for the Massena Red Raiders right there, Mike Dion.
So the St. Lawrence Central Larrys give up the ball on downs, and the Red Raiders with a football, still on his feet. Sean Fauché, he breaks a tackle. Fauché gets away from Collette, still on his feet. Fauché now with only Bill Jones to beat, in for a touchdown for the Massena Central Red Raiders.
How he got away from those 3 St. Lawrence Larrys players, I'll never know. I don't know how he did it. What a run by Fauché. Just unbelievable. I don't know how he got away from those 3 St. Lawrence Larrys players.
We'll have to, there you get a look at Sean Fauché.
Here it is again. Watch this. He goes down the sideline.
There he eludes one tackle. Collette misses a tackle. And Bill Jones is the last man, and Sean Fauché dives into the end zone.
Some nice stutter step, stop and go moves there by Fauché. Had a couple of defenders confused.
And the extra point is up, and it is good. And the Massena Central Red Raiders draw first blood here as with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left on the scoreboard clock in our first quarter. Our score is 7-0. The Massena Central Red Raiders in the lead.
One thing there that did work, and he had a handful of players full, but not very many, was the fake, Chip. The fake on that play even had me faked out. I didn't think Fauché had the ball. It was an excellent fake.
And a 63-yard scoring drive for Massena, one play. And the Massena Central Red Raiders get their offense in gear.
Well, you can see why they've been atop that rushing leaders board all season long. There's a very good example of it right there. As we take a look at the scoreboard once again, Red Raiders ahead 7-0. But the Larrys were able to manage a little bit of a drive there last time, and let's see what happens this time.
Back for St. Lawrence Central, and catching the kickoff was Nate Rufa. Rufa, who started at about maybe his 12, gets over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. And that's where St. Lawrence Central will go. First and 10 at their own 33-yard line. Sean Fauché, let's see. For Fauché now on the season, that is his 8th rushing touchdown. Chris Ward gives to Justin Morrow. Morrow picks up 2. We'll call it 2nd down and 8.
Hurry up offense once again, Chip.
Ward now to Jeff Chateau running outside. Chateau gets around Ryan Kerwin. Nice move by Jeff Chateau too, Jamie.
He is very dangerous when he gets around that corner. If he turns that corner and there's nobody there, look out. Let's watch it once again. Here it is.
Watch Kerwin, number 26. There you see him coming into the play.
So Carbonneau getting taken down there, that kind of helped a little bit on the play as Carbonneau was on the outside there. He had a pretty good shot at him, but good block there to get rid of Carbonneau out of the play.
But the Larrys find themselves in another 3rd and long, 3rd and 6. Chris Ward drops straight back. Ward looking downfield. And he's got a man, Ryan Rust, and Rust was open, but he dropped the football. Corey David in on the coverage, and there you get a look. The Larrys may exploit this a little bit more now. You see Corey David, who was supposed to be on the coverage, he may have been a little bit behind that play because of the ankle injury.
Well, I'll tell you, he didn't come up on the receiver as quickly as he normally does. You're right, Chip.
There you get a look at Jeff Slack along with Timmy Cole,
and Ryan Rust was right there, too. And I'm sure that's not the last time we'll see that play tonight.
No. So the Larrys on 4th down, elect to punt, and they fake it. Chris Ward, he's got Razis in front of him. Now he throws the ball to Jeff Chateau for a 1st down. Oh, a little razzle-dazzle, Jamie.
Yes, and, well, that doesn't surprise me, Eddie. I'll tell you, Tim Hayes has
a 1st down.
about as many plays as his playbook and as long as a list of plays as a little boy's Christmas list. Let's watch it again. Here we go.
This is a good play.
A little chicanery here by the St. Lawrence Larrys, and it proves to be benefit big time on the yardage.
Chris Ward waited for Fauché and a couple other guys to Tony D'Agostino. Not very happy. There you see Coach D'Agostino.
And he is right out on the field. He wants to have a talk with somebody out there. He is trying to get somebody's attention out there. He wants to talk to the official. Now, what I think they're going to argue about is whether or not Chris Ward was beyond the line of scrimmage right here. And I think that's what the argument is about.
I should mention while we have this chance that our referee for tonight's game is Bruce Champagne. The field judge is John Simons. The line judge, Carl Larasian. The back judge is Paul Keenan. And the umpire is Steve Farmer.
Well, watch it again on the replay. You see where the line of scrimmage is. Here's Ward. He comes down the side. He was fine.
I agree. Alzi Nicola out talking to his defensive unit. Yeah, Chris Ward. We'll take a look at it one more time here, Jamie.
Let's watch it once again. You see where the line of scrimmage is. He's coming up. He's coming up. Oh, that's fine right there. He got that ball off before he took those last 2 steps, so it looked really good. And so Coach Nicola is right out there. Let's watch it once again. Here we go. And right. Yeah, yes, sir.
You see Ryan Kerwin and Sean Fauché, I believe, were coming up to make the tackle on Ward, and Ward waited, and then he just dumped the ball
I'll
off.
tell you the truth, Chip, I didn't think he was going to pass that ball.
No,
I thought he was
didn't
just going for the 1st down, and then he wings it downfield a little farther.
St. Lawrence Central now, Chris Ward on the option, keeps Sean Fauché. Makes the tackle from behind. He gets some help that time by Bressard.
Chris Ward, and there he is right there. Not afraid to run the ball himself, and doesn't even give it a second thought. He'll take right off with that ball. He's definitely a threat with the option when he does have the ball, so you have to always watch for that too.
Chris Ward, whose best game rushing this season was against Watertown. He picked up 70 yards on 5 carries. Now the give is Jeremy Collette. Picks up little yards at all as Frank Kuchikria in on the tackle.
A little different play right there, bringing Jeremy Collette around and into the center of the line.
Another different look that Coach Tim Hayes and his coaching staff are showing here tonight.
Like I said, I think Tim Hayes has got a list of plays as long as a little boy's Christmas list.
Kuchikria, who had a couple of tackles against OFA. I'm not sure. That's the end of the 1st quarter. That's what the whistle is for. So we have played 1 quarter of football from Mike Nicholas Field with our score. The Massena Central Red Raiders 7. The St. Lawrence Central Larrys nothing. We'll be back with more NEC football right after this.
When it's time to build, head for Massena Building Supply and Northern Building Supply, your Golden Rule lumber centers. Supplying the North Country with the best selection and price on all your building and remodeling needs. At Massena and Northern Building Supply, you'll get the best in service from friendly professionals. Whether you need tools, lumber, paint, or an entire kitchen or bath, all your building needs can be met right here at your Golden Rule lumber centers, Massena and Northern Building Supply.
A World of Color is here to serve you with all your decorating needs by offering big sale savings now. The World of Color can offer you Pittsburgh paint now at 20% off. Also, Sunworthy wallpaper, 60 to 90% off. Imperial wallpaper is just $5.50 a double roll with Imperial border at $3 a roll. Book orders are available at 30% off, and framing of your choice also 30% off. Give your home a new touch of color with the new paint and wallpaper on sale now at the World of Color at 10 Main Street in downtown Massena.
The St. Lawrence Central Larrys find themselves with another 3rd down and 5 this time, Jamie. Just a beautiful night for football here tonight in Massena as the temperatures in the 50s and very little wind.
Absolutely gorgeous. You know, I don't remember a football season the last time when it was like this outside towards the end of the season.
Chris Ward looks over that Red Raider defense. He drops straight back, looking downfield. and overthrows his intended receiver that time, as that was Nate Rufa.
Well, Nate Rufa was going down the sideline, and he started to make his move, and then he stopped as the pass was thrown, and it went over his head. I was surprised to see Rufa stop. Maybe that was part of that play, is for him to stop like that.
So a ball incomplete, and the Larry's now 1 for 5 in third down conversions in this football game. Larry's appear to will be going for this on 4th down, and about 5 yards to go for a first down. Chateau and Razis in the backfield, along with Jeremy Collette. Now Ward rolls out, and the pitch is to Jeff Chateau. He did not have control of the football, but it looks like Jeff Chateau was able to recover. But the St. Lawrence Central Larrys lose the ball on downs anyway, as that was 4th down.
Well, I think that was a last-minute decision on Chris Ward's part right there. Let's watch it again. I think Chris Ward didn't have any intention of doing this, but at the last minute he decided to pitch the ball back to Jeff Chateau, and I don't think Jeff expected him to do it.
And the Massena Central Red Raiders take over at their own 47-yard line. Good field position. Red Raiders run the ball up the middle. Sean Fauché, the ball carrier, he picks up about 4 on the play. Call it 2nd down and 6.
The Red Raiders doing what they do best.
Tommy Gow in on the tackle. Yes. Tommy Gow had 7 tackles against Potsdam and a quarterback sack. This is Austin Rush. Gets around a tackle and another one down the sideline. Austin Rush eludes another tackle and gets deep into St. Lawrence Central territory. Austin Rush.
What a great move right there, that stuttering move that he made right there. Larry coming across the field and almost making the tackle. Let's watch it again. Great work by Chris Tabor on the sidelines here with the camera. Watch this going down the sideline.
Austin Rush.
Here comes the stop move right there. Beautiful stutter step move to get out of the way of the one St. Lawrence Larry player. And in fact, he picked up 5 more yards after he did that.
I was just going to say that. It allowed him to pick up a few more yards. So the Red Raiders on the move once again. Jim Morrell following a block of Austin Rush. And Jim Morrell down with probably another 3 or 4 yards on the carry there. You get a look at P.J. Rochford. Rochford with a fine season this year and a #1 passer in the NAC. 30 attempts, 19 completions, 359 yards.
When I talked with
5
PJ,
touchdowns.
Excuse me, Chubb, when I talked with PJ, he said the reason that his passing percentage and leading passing is the way it is because he says we don't pass the ball that much.
Right. Sean Fauché this time, the ball carrier. He is stacked up on the play, but he does pick up a few yards. Jared Bryant in on the tackle. Yeah, P.J. Rochford completing 63% of his passes, but on a football team that, well, you know, they've only attempted 30 passes on the season.
With 19 completions, where you look at behind him, Griffith the Governor with 85 attempts and 42 completions.
Yes.
There's quite a difference there.
Rochford hands the ball off to Jim Morrell. Morrell met by Jared Bryant along with B.J. Wells, but inching closer and closer to the goal line, but there is a flag on the play.
And there might have been a little extra activity after, and they're a face mask, it looks like.
Ooh. It's going to be half the distance, Jamie.
I'll have to watch it once again.
There's the give to Morrell. Oh, yeah, Jared Bryant had a hold of his face mask.
You got to leave that birdcage alone.
As
there's nasty results if you grab it.
And the officials saw that infraction and throw the flag. So the Red Raiders moving down closer. 9:25 to play before halftime. 7-0 our score. Jim Morrell, the ball carrier, bounces off a couple of tackles. He's in for a touchdown. And the Red Raiders now lead by the score of 13-0.
Morrell going around to the far side and finding a hole opening up for him and right in for the touchdown. And here it is once again. See Morrell, of course, lining up close to you here, around the other side, and in for the touchdown.
Jim Morrell, a 4-yard run, we'll call it. Mike Bressard is on to try to attempt the extra point. So Jim Morrell picks up his 5th rushing touchdown. And the extra point is up, and it is good. And the Massena Central Red Raiders now lead this football game by the score of 14-0. So the Red Raiders that time, Jamie, go 53 yards. And Jim Morrell carries it over from the 4 as the Red Raiders add on to their lead.
You know, it's surprising, Chip, how much we've heard of Jim Morrell since about the halfway point of the season. He has been a big key player for this Massena squad here in the second half of the regular season, and now, of course, here in the playoffs. And we didn't hear much about him in the beginning, and then all of a sudden here he is, a star player for Massena about halfway through the season, and he's doing an excellent job for him.
Jim Morrell, I'm not sure if he had any carries in the first game, Jamie, but you're absolutely right. Then he had 6 in the second game, 3 in the third game, 5 in the fourth game, and then after that, 12, 13 carries respectively in the next 2 games, and then he had just 5 last week, but he scored 2 touchdowns.
We also saw 5 faces in the backfield last week with Massena as well.
That's right. So the Red Raiders kick off. And receiving the football is Nate Rufa. Oh, he was met by Bressard, but got away from Bressard, but I don't think he's going to get away from Mike Dion, who's in on the tackle.
Mike Dion's having himself a pretty good evening out there. He's pretty much picking up a lot of the slack that Bobby Flynn has charge of out there.
We have not seen Bobby Flynn in this football game.
Let's watch it once again. He's met right to start with, right here.
Oh boy, Mike Bressard hit him and sent him back about 3 yards, but Rufa kept on going.
Unbelievable. I don't see how he stayed on his feet after that hit by Bressard.
27-yard line is where the Larrys begin. Jeff Chateau trying to squiggle away, and he does. He gets around.
Now, Chip, how he got out of there, I have no idea how he got out of that. I don't think he knows either.
Maybe he's going to go to the bench right now and explain to the fellow teammates just how he did.
Jeff Chateau, boy, he has been a pivotal figure for this Larry squad.
Jeff Chateau, the number 3 rusher in the NAC. This time Justin Morrow is the ball carrier, but Justin Morrow is tackled on the play. Mike Bressard in on the tackle for Massena. We get a little bit of extracurricular as Corey David was mixing it up with a St. Lawrence Central player.
Both of these teams are really up for this game.
3rd down. We'll call it 3 for the Larrys.
Coach Nicola and Coach DiAgostino are practically in this game. They've almost come right out on the field a couple of times yelling instructions.
Now, Chris Ward with a nice pass to Bill Jones, and Bill Jones makes the reception.
Well, I'll tell you, as a quarterback this season, he would have been one of my favorite targets. He's a nice, tall target to hit. I've said that all season long, and I'm going to say it again. He is, and he is definitely the man you want over the middle. Here it is again. Ward back to pass with that rifle of an arm of his, and he hits Bill Jones, and Jones with major yardage for the Larrys, Chip.
Bill Jones with 3 catches for 29 yards in the OFA game, his best game of the season receiving. Made a nice catch that time on that 3rd down conversion for a 1st down by the Larrys. Now Jeff Chateau trying to run outside, gets away from Corey David, and you just wonder how that ankle is doing. There you get a look at the NAC rushing leaders again. Chateau and Morrow, 3 and 4 in the NAC in rushing. Jeff Chateau, 785 yards total rushing on the season and 12 touchdowns. And Justin Morrow with 645 yards and 4 touchdowns.
We saw Corey David at the top of that list quite a bit here in the during the regular season, but he slipped off the pace in the last couple of weeks.
Chris Ward trying to set up the screen, and it is intercepted. Chris Ward, an error in judgment as Tim Carbonell stayed at home that time And he picks up an interception as Carbonell, the Red Raiders must have scouted that play very well, as Carbonell was right there, as was Jamie Mock earlier in the game.
Watch Carbonell, right place at the right time. Turns around, there he is, and hi, look what I found. Beautiful, beautiful heads-up play by Carbonell.
Larry's looked like they were trying to set up the screen that time. So the Red Raiders take over, 1st and 10, and the ball carrier is Sean Fauché.
Once again, a great fake by P.J. Rochford. He's got me confused. Excellent fake in there.
Red Raiders starting this drive at their own 47-yard line.
And apparently an official's timeout out there, Chip.
Okay. Looks like they had a slight problem with the clock, maybe, Jamie. 5:56 to play until half. 14-0, Red Raiders in the lead.
There's your NAC passing leaders right there, and P.J. Rochford on the top. As we mentioned before, you notice the attempts and completions that he has. There's not too many. And
Austin Rush this time is hauled down by Bill Jones. Nice play by Bill Jones that time.
There it is once again. You notice the attempts and completions between he and Griffith and Lawrence there of Canton. 108 attempts, and Rochford has had 30 attempts, but you can keep your percentage rather high if you only have a handful of attempts to begin with.
Bill Jones picked up a fumble recovery last week. We have an injured Massena player, and that is Jim Morrell.
And I don't think they can afford to lose him.
So with this break, we're going to take a break. 5:30 run remaining until half. We'll be back right after this.
Frenchie Chevrolet Olds, 255 East Orvis Street in Massena, offers a vast inventory of new and used vehicles as well as state-of-the-art service in Mr. Goodwrench GM parts, plus complete body and glass repair and maintenance, and also AAA approved 24-hour wrecker service. For all your automobile needs, see the professionals at Frenchie Chevrolet Olds, 255 East Orvis Street, Massena.
Massena faced with a 3rd down and 11 now. They give the ball, and Sean Fauché has a huge hole. B.J. Wells finally tackles them. Fauché picks up good yardage after the Red Raiders lost yardage on 2nd down, that is. So it is now a 4th down, and we'll call it 2 for Massena.
Nice run by Sean Fauché. There we go to the Massena sidelines, and that's Brian Peets right there, number 40 for the Red Raiders.
Brian Peets has seen a little bit of action this season. Rochford to give to Austin Rush. He's going to be close to a 1st down. Timmy Hayes getting excited on the sideline. There you see the St. Lawrence Central coach as he's wondering where they marked the ball, but he says they stopped them.
If we go with a replay on this, Chip, I want you to keep an eye on the count. On the count by the quarterback. PJ looked as if he was going with a long signal count there to try to draw the Larrys off sides, and he was almost successful. There were 3 of them that flinched. Let's watch it again. Okay. See this on the line right there? It looked as if he went with a long count to try to jump them off sides, but it didn't pan out, and they stayed right at home.
And the Larrys come up with a big 4th down stop as the Red Raiders are not successful on that 4th down.
And look at the determination look on Tony DiAgostino's face.
And there you get a look at Louis Trevino. So the Larrys take over.
Louis Trevino, a Maraca player extraordinaire.
Yes. Outstanding job in that telethon, didn't he?
Oh, great job.
So the Larrys, Mike Bresser tackles Chris Ward, but there is a flag down, and we'll have to see what the discussion is and who the penalty is against. Maybe there is no flag.
Well, I saw something go flying out onto the field. Maybe a referee carrying a Milky Way bar wrapper in his pocket and it went out or something. I don't know. Something went flying out there. I don't know what that was.
2nd down. We'll call it 14 for St. Lawrence Central. Chris Ward drops back. Now he rolls out of the pocket. Ward looking downfield and throws the ball out of bounds as the intended receiver, Bill Jones, was very well covered by Corey David and Mike Dion on the play.
Larry's are very successful normally with that sideline pattern right there. That's been one of their big trademarks this season.
Larry's have opened it up more here in this football game than they did in the first contest against the Red Raiders. And, of course, I'm sure when they saw that Bobby Flynn was not in the lineup that maybe their game plan changed a little bit, and they said, we're even going to try to throw the ball a little bit more.
Something that's worked for the Larrys so far tonight, that short pass over the middle seems to be clicking real good for them.
Another third down play for the Larrys. Ward drops straight back. Now he fakes. And the other, Tim Carbonell, was right on Jeff Chateau. And let's see if that was a incomplete pass.
Well, I thought it was anyway.
I did too, yes.
Yes, and they do. They ruled the ball dead. Tim Carbonell, though, wow.
The Red Raider defensive end, Tim Carbonell.
Right there on the spot. Johnny on the spot, I might say.
The Red Raider coaching staff has really scouted this play out as St. Lawrence Central have not been successful. Watch this.
Watch it again on the replay. Watch Carbonell. He is right there. I mean, you can't hit him any closer than that without it being interference.
The defensive ends are picking up the running backs coming out of the backfield as they go out for a pass. St. Lawrence Central forced to kick, and they get a favorable bounce as the ball rolls to about the 23-yard line. Nice kick by Chris Ward, and that's where the Massena Central Red Raiders will go 1st and 10 at about their own 23.
We take a look at the NAC miscellaneous stats here. In the punting department, Bressart of Massena is 3rd. Chris Ward, who we saw just punt just now, is 5th for the St. Lawrence Larrys in the punting department.
Alzi Nicola with a smile on his face as he's talking to Tim Carbonell.
Carbonell has had quite a game out there defensively tonight.
Tim Carbonell has played well so far. Red Raiders send Austin Rush in motion. He gets the football. Gets away from Bill Jones. Gets close to the 30-yard line before he is down. B.J. Wells in on a stop.
Jeremy Collette was able to get a bit of a shoelace there on his way by and was able to trip him up enough.
Mike Thompson also in on a tackle. Mike Thompson, 58 tackles coming into this football game, in the top 10 in the NAC in tackles. Corey David, of course, led the NAC through the regular season with 106. Rochford, this time the give is to Sean Fauché. And Fauché is tackled with little yards as Lenny Garrow in to help as he helps out Mike Thompson that time. Thompson, who missed all but one game last year with a season-ending knee injury.
This looks to me, Chip, I don't know if you've taken a look at this a little bit closer or not, but it looks as if the Larrys are playing a lot more aggressive than they were the first time they were here this year.
And I'm sure that they have put a lot of wrinkles, and we have seen a lot of different plays by the Larrys in this football game that we maybe haven't seen all season. Late flag, yes.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might happen there. I thought it was going to happen on the last play to Lenny Garrow, but it wasn't, and this time definitely a penalty on a late hit in there. I'll tell you one thing, though, the Massena running game hasn't backed off one iota either.
And really, here you get a...
And Chris Tabor doing the two-step or something over there with that wireless camera.
Red Raiders.
And
yeah, here the penalty.
Oh, there it is right there.
As Garrow was assessed the penalty. Well, the Massena Central Red Raiders, number 1 offensively in rushing with over 2,400 yards on the season. Here's Austin Rush. Rush is tackled from behind by Collette, but he picks up a nice gain.
Austin Rush getting around the outside there. And they used that quite a bit.
Rochford now to Jim Morrell. He runs into his own teammate, and he is tackled. Bill Jones in on the tackle. There you get a look at Rochford going over to the Massena sidelines to get the play
Had a
from
chance.
the Red Raider coaching staff.
Had a chance to talk with PJ back, as you remember, 2-3 weeks ago, and excellent young man to talk to. He really praises that offensive front line of his for the season that everybody has had in that backfield.
Red Raiders faced with a third down here. Jim Morrell gets away from a tackle. Morrell is going to have a first down.
He was almost grabbed in that backfield. That was very close, Chippy. He was almost picked off in the backfield out there, but Morrell getting away. And there's your look at leading tacklers. Of course, Corey David on the top with 106 tackles, and Thompson of the Larrys down in 8th with 58.
Red Raiders pick up a first down on that third down play. So the Red Raiders on the move as they have the ball just inside St. Lawrence Central field. Here's a long pass, and it's intercepted by Collette as the ball was intended for Mike Barton.
Look out!
Jeremy Collette with some room. Collette down the sideline, and P.J. Rochford tackles him at about the 48-yard line.
He is a dangerous man when he gets the ball. Jeremy Collette.
Corey David also in on the tackle. So the Red Raiders, who, Jamie, we talk about it, they don't throw the ball very often, but when they do, they try to do it as an element of surprise and whatnot. And it's Jeremy Collette. There he is in the back, playing in the safety position. And he makes the tackle, and then he makes a nice run back as he gets all the way to the Massena 48-yard line.
Did. Somebody put a, not quite a full block, but a half a block on Jim Morrell just to give Collette enough time to get back upfield once again. The whistle blows.
Just 11 seconds, Jamie, remaining here in our first half.
And I don't know what that was about, but we're off and going again.
They were looking over at the St. Lawrence Central bench. Chris Ward going to go, trying to throw long, and it is knocked out of his hands by Mike Bressert.
And I think that'll be ruled an incomplete pass, but we have a flag down on the play because Chris Ward's arm was going forward, so more than likely Chip will be ruled an incomplete pass on that.
It did look like he had the arm going in forward motion.
We'll have to see what happened there.
Just 6 seconds left until halftime. 14-0 our score.
And we might have some holding in there. I don't know. That may be the call.
And it's holding against St. Lawrence Central. The Massena Central Red Raiders decline the penalty.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Where the St. Lawrence Larrys are taking up their huddle, Massena won't be able to hear nothing.
That is for sure.
They are way back there.
It's going to take them, if the clock starts, it's going to take them 6 seconds to move up to the ball.
Take a cab back to the ball again.
Nate Rufa and Jeremy Collette start out on the right. Ward now as it's a draw play. Justin Morrow gets away. Justin Morrow breaks a couple of tackles. He's down the sideline and finally wrestled out of bounds by Austin Rush, close to the 30-yard line. And that's where play will end in our first half, with an exciting play to end the first half as Justin Morrow breaks a couple of tackles. And
I don't know how he got away from those three Massena players, but he rolled off them. We'll watch it once again here. Just absolutely amazing, Chip, how he rolls off of these three players. Here's the give. Eludes a tackle there, but look at this. Now, how did he get away from that?
Sean Fauché missed a tackle. Jeff Chateau just couldn't get downfield and get a block on Austin Rush, or Justin Morrow might have been gone all the way. Well, we are at halftime with our score. Massena 14, St. Lawrence Central nothing. We'll be back with more NAC football right after this.
LaRue Oil and Brazier Quick Stop on Route 11 in Brazier have everything you need under one roof. Groceries, cold beer and soda, video rentals, year-round fishing supplies, ammo and hunting supplies, also gas, diesel fuel, and kerosene. On special now in the 12-pack cans is Genesee Light, $5.39, Coors Light, $6.99, Bud Light, just $6.99, and Michelob Light 18-pack, just $9.99. Coca-Cola 16-ounce 6-pack, just $2.99, or a single 16-ounce bottle, just 56 cents. All prices plus tax and deposit. At your one-stop headquarters, LaRue Oil and Brazier Quick Stop, Route 11, Brazier.
NAC Football and Everest Production Sports is brought to you today by Club 37, located on Tripoli Road, Massena. World of Color, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. By Landerville's Groceries, located on East Dover Street, Massena. Massena Building Supply, located on Water Street, Massena. Bob Post Insurance Agency, located on Maple Street, Massena. Frenchie Chevrolet Olds and Geo, located on East Dover Street, Massena. Blue Oil and Brazier Quick Stop, located on Route 11 across from the arena in Brazier Falls. Michelex Plastics. Great Northern Outfitters, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Susie Travel, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Hotel Netto, located on Andrew Street in Massena. And by WB Goodnow Insurance Agency, located on Route 11 in Brazier Falls. Once again, thank you to all of our sponsors, bringing you NAC Football today here on Everest Production Sports.
Attention, attention, Burns Truck Stop number 9 is your one-stop place for tax-free gas, American and Canadian cigarettes, all your convenience store needs. So stop in to Burns Truck Stop number 9 on Route 37 in Hogansburg for the 24-hour service you deserve.
14-0 our score as we start the second half. Massena Central Red Raiders and the St. Lawrence Central Larrys. Looking at stats from that first half, as Bill Jones set the kickoff. Jeff Chateau, 11 carries for 19 yards in that first half. Justin Morrow, 5 carries for 32 yards. As Austin Rush runs the second half kickoff back to about the 33-yard line, which is where the Red Raiders will go first and 10. Chris Ward was 5 for 12 in that first half, so the Larrys 116 yards of total offense in that first half. On the Massena side, it was Fauché, 6 carries, 81 yards. Sean Fauché, that is. Austin Rush, 7 carries, 53 yards. Red Raiders, 20 carries, 145 yards of total offense. P.J. Rochford, 0 for 1 and 1 interception in that first half. Here we go. Austin Rush, the ball carrier, has a huge hole. Austin Rush still on his feet. Finally wrestled down close to the midfield.
Nice tackle by B.J. Wells right there, and it may have been a touchdown-saving tackle, too.
Also in on a stop, Mike Thompson. There you get a look at the Massena Central Red Raider offense. P.J. Rochford's the quarterback. Fauché, Morrell rushed in the backfield. Bobby Flynn, of course, not playing. Bobby Flynn is out. Mike Barton's the tight end. Moffitt, Wells, Tripoli not in the game. And it is Shane Lytle who has taken his place. Red Raiders stay on the ground. Once again, Thompson in on the tackle. He has been a very busy guy here tonight for St. Lawrence Central. He's getting up limping this time. Mike Thompson.
They can't afford to lose Thompson. Thompson has been a key player for them all season on that defense.
Thompson had 7 tackles and a fumble recovery last week against Malone. There you get a look at Coach Tim Hayes, whose football teams at St. Lawrence Central over the last couple of years, over the last 3 or so, have only won about 3 games. Well, they won 4 this season.
This has been a very tough Northern Athletic Conference as we see number 56 going to the sideline there, Chip.
Red Raiders have a second down facing them and about 13. To give is to Rush. Austin Rush trying to break a tackle. B.J. Wells has a hold of him, along with some help that time by Villeneuve.
Cena coming out of the box here, moving the ball. Very nice, Chip.
Yes, they are. As they are down to about the St. Lawrence Central 40. They send the man in motion, and Jim Morrell breaks a tackle. Morrell looking for some daylight, and Bill Jones tackles him from behind.
What a move Morrell put on Nate Rufa. Rufa was right there waiting for him, and then he little dipsy doodle move there to get around Rufa. And I think that kind of surprised Nate Rufa. Let's watch it again.
Or was it Tommy Gow?
Well,
Tommy Gow missed the tackle.
But right here, there it is right
Yes,
there.
right, B.J.
And
Wells.
Nate Rufus said, what was that just went by?
That's as quick as I am, Jamie. I don't know where, but maybe my wife calls me to the supper table, maybe. Might be the only time.
You might see me move that fast for the dinner table, I think.
Lenny Garrow in on the stop. Red Raiders pick up a first down. Ball resting on the St. Lawrence Central 22-yard line.
Red Raiders seem to have that bulldozer offense in high gear this time around.
This is a big series, I think, for St. Lawrence Central. If they can hold the Red Raiders, try to stay in this football game. But if they get down by 21, this is Austin Rush, and Bill Jones has a hold of him. Jones did a good job shrugging off the block of Jim Morrell that time. And then he was able to put the stops.
And there's Bill Jones right there. He's had an excellent season defensively as well as those passes, those little short passes that he's so well known at catching for the Larrys.
Guys like Bill Jones and, let's see, Jamie Mock from Massena. They'll probably, depending on how far they go in football, they may get maybe a week of rest between before basketball season starts.
That's right.
Fauché, the ball carrier, grinds out a few more yards. In on the stop is Richie Arquette for the Larrys. And it is now a third down for Massena and about 6 yards to go for another first down.
Red Raiders are moving this ball along, and they are definitely threatening.
Corey David goes in motion. This is Austin Rush trying to get away. Mike Barton a little disappointed. I think Barton had I see Corey David in the game in the backfield. Talking about Mike Barton first, Barton was trying to block, and I think he missed his block, and that might have allowed the Larrys to make that tackle. But I see Corey David in the backfield. Now I guess he's going to stay in the game, and Jim Morrell's going to come out to get a look at Dick Hootware, who was in charge of the defense.
I was just going to say, Dick is really shouting the instructions in there in this drive.
It's a fourth down play. Red Raiders going for it, and on the option, it's Corey David. David will run for a first down. He is knocked out of bounds inside the 5.
And P.J. Rochford thinking, and then giving the ball up on the option. And it pays big dividends for the Red Raiders.
A big third down conversion.
And you see who got the ball. Corey David.
Corey David, who was among the top rushers in the NAC, and then the ankle injury has kind of hampered his offensive play of late. Sean Fauché just continuing to move those feet, and he's in for a Massena Central Red Raider touchdown.
Nice run by Fauché right up the middle. He never gave up either. He just kept burrowing his way through there. And yet another Red Raider touchdown.
Sean Fauché with his second in this football game. Got a 61-yard run in the first quarter. That made it 6-0 Bressard with the extra point. And then a 53-yard drive by the Red Raiders, and Jim Morrell went over from 3 yards out. Bressard with a kick. 14-0 at halftime, and now Fauché in once again here. Kick is up, and it is good.
And almost right in your living room.
So our score now is the Massena Central Red Raiders 21. St. Lawrence Central Larrys nothing. Red Raiders started that drive back on their own 33-yard line.
Well, they have got that, as I said before, that bulldozer offense of theirs into gear now. And once they really start going right at you with that game game plan that they've had all season long, it is very tough to stop them, that big front line of theirs. Well, the Larrys now have to play catch-up in a big way. And I'm sure they want to get something going right away. They don't want that clock to tick away on them. But we've seen some great playing out of the St. Lawrence Larrys in that first half. But they now are really going to have to press just a little bit.
Yes, like I mentioned, I think that was a key series for the Larry defense. And the Red Raiders came out and they did what they wanted to do, and that is move the football down the field. This one goes off the side of the leg, of the side of the foot, I should say, of Mike Bressard and out of bounds, I believe.
And I don't know what happened there. Bressard usually gets off pretty good kick, but something happening there, and they're talking over on the sidelines there. We'll have to see what happens.
Red Raiders with some fine sustained drives in this game, Jamie. A 61-yard drive. Well, that only took one play, though. A 53-yard drive and a 67-yard drive. And boy, that's what you like to see. There you get a look at our official for this game, Bruce Champagne, making the signals. So the Larrys
with the ball in pretty good field condition.
Yeah, it looks like about the 41-yard line.
Good pursuit by the Red Raiders right there. Jeff Chateau with the ball. And I'm sure that the Larrys are not going to, I don't believe, Chip, will want to stay with that running game for very long. They'll want to move this ball down the field very quickly. They did that a couple of times against the Red Raiders the last time they played them.
Let's see if they can spread that Massena defense out here. Chris Ward dropping back. He's got good time. Ward looks, and the pass is caught by Bill Jones. Jones is tackled by
nice
Corey
catch.
Lejean.
Nice catch, Chip, by Bill Jones right there. And
Red Raiders had good protection that time, it appeared. Jamie Mock was back there.
Let's watch it once again, and boy, Chris Ward had all day to throw that, and he gets the ball into a well-covered, I might add, Bill Jones on that play.
Mike Dion, good coverage that time, but the ball just got in there. Good concentration by Jones, too.
Excellent concentration.
Because I'm not sure that he was able to see that ball all the way into his stomach. Larry's have a third and a short one. And Chris Ward on a keeper. That's a play we've seen a little bit this year.
Yes, we have, and it's worked for him pretty well. And watch, I don't know whether we're going to see it again or not, but when Ward has a hold of this ball, when he gets it, watch how quickly this hole opens up. This is a little unusual that you see a hole like that open up that quickly on a quarterback sneak, especially against the Red Raiders.
So in the I formation, the Larrys, Ward has trouble with a snap. Fortunately for St. Lawrence Central, he holds on to the football. It is now second down. A loss on the play.
Looked like the ball just kind of slipped right out of his hands after he had a hold of it.
Second down at about 14.
21-0. Red Raiders.
5 minutes, 15 seconds remaining on the scoreboard clock here in our third quarter. Now the handoff is to Justin Morrow, and Morrow is caught at the ankles by Corey David. And David stops his progress. He might have picked up maybe a yard on the play.
Important down right here for the St. Lawrence Larrys. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them put the ball up right here.
No, not when you have a third down. You're down by 21 points, and third down and 12.
He's got Collette way over here to this side.
Nate Rufa also lined up on this side. Chris Ward with time, looking downfield, and it's broken up by Corey Lejean.
Nice play by Lejean, too. Tipped it right away.
Good coverage by the Red Raiders secondary.
And there's that sideline pattern again, as you see Jeremy Collette going back to the huddle. There's that sideline pattern, and I thought they might hit him this time, but a beautiful play by Lejean.
Corey Lejean, the safety.
Let's watch it once again. Jeremy Collette to this side. They try to hit him on that sideline pattern, breaking down the sideline. Beautiful tip right there by Corey Lejean, and couldn't have timed it more perfect than he did.
Corey Lejean will have an interception against Potsdam and another one against Gouverneur this season.
And apparently a timeout on the field.
A fourth down play coming up. So while we have this break on the field, we'll take a break. 4:27 remaining. 21-0. Red Raiders in the lead. We're in the third quarter.
Portions of this broadcast is brought to you today by Michelex Plastics of Massena. The weather's changing, and so are the fashions at Great Northern Outfitters at 88 Main Street in Massena. Great Northern Outfitters now have new flannel-lined jeans and work pants. Lacrosse boots are available for men and ladies in rubber and leather. Also, brown duck-lined coveralls, bib overalls, and jackets. And don't forget Red Wing boots on sale still at 20% off at Great Northern Outfitters, located at 88 Main Street in downtown Massena.
Fourth down, the Learys faced with 12 yards to go for another first down. Bressard with good pressure, but Ward gets away. He's got a guy out all alone. It's Jeremy Collette in for a touchdown. Any flags? I don't see any flags.
I do not see a single piece of yellow paper or cloth or anything out there. And Jeremy Collette off to the races and a big touchdown, and they finally get that play to click for him. Here it is, Chris Ward.
Good time.
Looking for his favorite receiver. Yes, Chip. Good, a lot of time on that, and there he is, and it's goodbye. I'll see you later.
That time the Red Raiders secondary protection breaks down, and Collette got behind the safety, Lejam, and it is a St. Lawrence Central touchdown. They will try for two. Ward looks, throws into the end zone, and it is incomplete this time, as it was intended.
Well, it's very strange that they would go right back to that same deal again and go right back at Corey Lejean, but they did. And this time, Collette, going down the sideline, was able to beat him on that. And a nice throw by Ward, and he did, like you said, Chip, he had plenty of time there to get that off.
Well, if we take a look at it one more time, you'll see a great block by Jeff Chateau. Mike Bressard almost got a piece of Ward, but he was able to step up in the pocket. And Chateau had a chance to just move Bressard out of the way enough where he couldn't get a real good grip on the St. Lawrence Central quarterback. And watch Chateau, or is it Justin Morrill? No, it's Chateau right there. See, I think that's Jeff Chateau.
Oh, my, excellent. And Corey Lejean, strange to see that after that great play he made the one before that. But Jeremy Collette, man, oh, man. That's quite a hookup, Ward to Collette.
And that had to have been close to probably a 40, 45-yard touchdown pass. This is Mike Dion running across field looking for his blocking. And Dion's going to go little. The ball is loose. Who has it? We'll wait for the flag. It is St. Lawrence Central. Mike Dion.
Oh, my. I don't know. If we get a chance to see this again, we'll have to take a real close look at this. I thought Dion was down. It must be when he was on his way down. The ball must have come loose. Man, oh, man.
Here we're going to get a look at it again.
But watch it once again. A nice run by Dion. He got to the outside.
Dion must be running across field because that's where the blocking is setting up. Right there. He doesn't have the football.
No. Somebody.
And who recovered it? It looked like it might have been Arquette. So the Larrys have the football, and Justin Morrill gets close to the 20-yard line.
And Morrill shot out of that backfield, and he smelled pay dirt from the time he got the ball right there. You could tell by the way he ran it. But, man, oh, man. Yeah, Dion had that ball stripped right away from him. And the Larrys are in excellent field position.
Second down, Ward. Oh, this time he is dropped by Bressard, but the pass is caught by Bill Jones, the tight end.
Well, I'll tell you, Jones is having a great game, both defensively and offensively.
3:25 to play.
Here it is again. Ward back to pass, and he lets go of that cannonball arm of his and hits Jones. And by the way, Jones came back for that ball, too, by the way.
Yes.
Good heads-up playing by Bill Jones right there.
Now the Larry send Rufer out wide left, and they give us to the first man, and that's Justin Morrill. And Morrill gets down inside the 10, call it the 9. Justin Morrill with a fine run that time.
Well, we definitely are not seeing the Larry's team that was here the last time. This is a whole different batch of fellas.
I should mention for Jeremy Collette, that's his 3rd touchdown on the season. Touchdown that he picked up a moment ago. Now Chris Ward rolling back. Ward looking in the end zone, and this time good protection, and he threw the ball away, it appears.
Yes, I think Chris was looking at some youngster standing over there by the fence to see if he could get a reception that time. With the Red Raiders were really coming after him that time.
This Red Raider defense trying to come up big here, as the Red Raiders gave up a touchdown, then they fumbled the kickoff. And this Red Raider defense has not had a chance to rest in the last few minutes, Jamie, but they're trying to come up big and stop the Larrys here, as the Larrys are deep in the Massena territory. The ball at the 10-yard line.
Red Raiders
now 3rd down.
Have been very stingy so far. This is a little unusual to see this.
Chris Ward drops back, looking for Collette. Throwing the ball, and all alone in the end zone with Jeff Chateau, but he couldn't quite come back for the ball. Maybe it was underthrown, Jamie.
And I think Jeff was looking to come back for that ball, and you see his feet given out underneath him. He wanted to come back and get that ball. And we have, I think, a timeout by the Larrys.
Joe Jubenville wants to talk to his team.
Here it is once again. We'll watch. I think he wanted to come back.
Good pattern. Oh.
They had 3 receivers down in that area, and I think they had the Massena defense completely confused in their secondary.
It appeared that way, and Chateau was there, but Ward has passed a little bit underthrown, and Chateau could not recover. So a big 4th down play with a ball at about the 7-yard line. We're going to take time out. We'll be back right after this.
Susie Travel, a full-service agency. Instant computerized reservations, and Susie Travel now has service after hours. You can phone in reservations till 9 p.m. on weekdays and until 5 p.m. on weekends. All major credit cards accepted. Travel for fun or business. Your arrangements will always be handled professionally and efficiently. Once you've traveled with Susie Travel, you'll never travel with anyone else. Phone 769-2932.
Welcome back to Mike Nicholas Field. A big 4th down play coming up here, Jamie, for the St. Lawrence Central Larrys. They have the ball at about the 9-yard line. They can get a 1st down, Jamie, but they need to get down to about maybe the 2 for the 1st down. There you see our score, 21-6. And the give is to Justin Morrow, and he is stopped as the Red Raiders come up big. Frank Kutsikuria, who is it, Mike Dion, maybe Corey David? Yes, Corey David, trying to get the crowd back in this football game. The Red Raiders with a big defensive stop that time, Jamie.
Well, I'll tell you, they needed that right there. Their confidence level is way up now going into this set of offensive plays. And we have seen the Red Raiders already this year do a 90-plus yard drive down the field. So they're very capable of getting this ball out of their own end.
Red Raiders with a football. P.J. Rushford to give us to Austin Rush. Rush is tackled. Little yards that time. Lenny Garrow in on the stop. And this St. Lawrence Central football team right now, Jamie, is fired up.
They certainly are. They know that the Larrys mean some business here, and I think they've taken a whole new outlook on things here. Another play coming in from the sideline, Chip. And yes, they are. They break that hole. They run right up to that ball now.
Red Raiders starting at the 4. They picked up a yard on that play. And little yardage this time. And it is now 3rd down. And let's see if the Raiders will pass the football or not here.
We will have to wait and see, boy. This will be, like you said, it's funny that you brought that up. We just may see that this time.
3rd down. Red Raiders with Fauché in the backfield along with Corey David and Jim Morrell. And the give is to David. And Corey David is tackled. And I don't believe they're going to call it a safety because his forward progress was to about the 1. And a big tackle that time. The Larrys, wow.
The
What a
Larrys
defensive stance here.
defense is swarming.
We'll have to take a look and see. Oh, the ball is fumbled.
Oh,
ooh. They did not call it a fumble. Ooh, that looked like a
Wow.
fumble.
it sure did.
The Red
But-
Raiders get a huge break.
And underline the word reprieve. Let's watch it again. Let's watch it in slow motion. This ball,
Bill Jones, outstanding hit. Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
ball is going for the big
He was
hippity hop
not
the
down.
barber shop to the end zone.
Red Raiders get a big break because he was not down.
And I'll tell you, this may be a booster for the Red Raiders. They get a little bit of a reprieve, and we got a timeout out there.
And Chris Ward appears to be getting more and more confident as this game is going along, too. That pass, of course, to Collette for the touchdown.
Well, as Chad Edwards and I
That's
talked
cool.
about in the pregame show, we both agreed that this would not be the same Larry's team as we saw the first time around coming into this game.
I thought the Larrys were better than they played the first time.
Here it is once again. We're watching it on the far side, and here's the hit that made it go loose, I think, right there. Oh, what a vicious hit by Bill Jones right there.
And David was stopped by a player who had to tackle. Right.
There is the ball,
Yep.
and we do not have our...
The ball is to
we don't
about
have
the
a
top of the...
telestrator where I can circle that for you,
Well,
but I think you all can
the
see
ball
it.
is right there at about the top of the referee's socks.
But just
And
a ferocious hit by Bill Jones, showing no compassion for Corey David at all.
Bressert is standing on the back edge of the goal line, and Bressert gets the kick off.
And he just got it off. Bill Jones almost got a hand on it.
Jeremy Collette fields it at about the 30.
Oh, my.
And a
look
big
out.
tackle there. Nice play. Good coverage by the Red Raiders that time, as it is Brian Peets. As Jeremy Collette started running to his left, put on the brakes, turned around, and Brian Peets met him right there.
Yes, and Brian Peets with a quick hello right there.
Mike Bressert with a fine kick to get the Red Raiders out of a hole.
Close. Bill Jones almost did get a hand on that. Here's Collette. He turns around, starts the other way, and
Look at Peets right there. Great tackle.
Pete says they're not going anywhere.
No place at all. And that is the end of our third quarter, and it's been an exciting third quarter. Red Raiders with a touchdown, and the Larrys reply with a touchdown. So as we start the fourth quarter, the Larrys will have the ball at about the 35-yard line. So we're after 3 quarters of play with our score, Massena 21 and St. Lawrence Central 6. We'll be back with more right after this.
Enjoy the live entertainment and great company at the Hotel Netto, 43 Andrew Street in Massena. On Friday and Saturday, boogie to the sounds of nightlife from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. On Tuesday night, it's a singing affair with karaoke by Jerry Morin. On Sunday, enjoy football on the large screen TV with complimentary wings. And be sure to take advantage of the after-work specials Friday from 4 to 7. Great entertainment, great company, and of course great beverages at Hotel Netto, 43 Andrew Street, Massena.
Autos, boats, recreational vehicles, we insure vehicles of all types. Our team of insurance professionals can help you find the right insurance for your needs. We have a special program for young drivers who have had their driver's licenses for less than 2 years. Stop by for a quote. I'm sure you'll be surprised. WB Goodnow Agency, your professional insurance agent, located in Winthrop. Give us a call at 315-389-5145.
St. Lawrence Central Larrys getting ready to start this fourth quarter. They have the ball at about the 34-yard line of Massena. They send Collette wide left. Bill Jones also out there. Justin Morrow, wow, as he hit that time. Sean Fauché with a huge hit that time.
Wow.
This Massena defense now responding just like the Larrys defense did a moment ago. Sean Fauché, great hit that time.
We're seeing two teams just
Going at it.
brutally punishing each other. Here it is right here. Ooh. Wow. Forget it.
Sean Fauché with a nice tackle right there. Larry's second down and 10. Ward gonna pass, looking downfield, Bill Jones, and it's overthrown. Brian Kerwin in on the coverage for Massena.
Jones is very tall, but he's not that tall, I don't think.
No, I don't think Wilt Chamberlain would have caught that one.
No.
So third down. And 11 yards to go for another Larry's first down.
On third and fourth down conversions, the Larrys have done pretty well tonight so far.
Ward rolling out. Pass is caught by Bill Jones. Probably Jones picked up maybe 4 yards on the carry. Red Raiders had a good pass rush that time.
I don't know, but what that was, Sean Fauché coming up the middle right there. And
on a blitz?
On the blitz. And we'll watch it once again. Ward, I formation.
Yes.
Ward is coming back, and look at Fauché.
Yep.
Boy, he was coming like a freight train. It's a good thing that Ward got rid of that ball.
And nobody picked him up, right? Good call, and good call by the Red Raider coaching staff as Fauché with a blitz. So fourth down, and Jeff Chateau with a run. Chateau picks up yardage for the first down. And the Larrys keep this drive going. Fine crowd on hand here. Probably close to 2,000 fans here once again. There you get a look at Jeff Chateau.
Well, he and Justin Morrow have been, and of course Chris Ward in that backfield, have been tremendous this season for the Larrys.
First in goal for the Larrys. Ward, he has a man open in the end zone, and it's caught by Jeremy Collette. Touchdown, St. Lawrence Central.
That is the pattern that I had a chance to see them run in practice a couple of weeks back. They were working real hard on this pattern, and there it is right there.
Chris Ward.
Watch this pass by Ward. You can see Collette come across the top of your screen right there.
Great
coming
protection.
across. Excellent protection. And they worked so hard in practice on that play right there. Coach Hayes, we watched him go through everything on that play with each of his players to get that right, and it has paid big dividends for the Larrys.
So excellent work by the offensive line. Now Ward going for the two-point conversion, and it's caught by Chateau. And he is in. It is good. Jeff Chateau with a great catch. And they pick up 8 points. It is now 21-14. Here we get a look at the touchdown. One more time, Chris Ward. Look at the protection, Jamie.
Excellent protection, Chip. You're right on that play. But you can see Collette come across there. We watched that in practice, and they really have worked hard to get that play right.
And Chris Ward is starting to pick apart the Red Raider secondary right now at this point in this football game. You can see in every pass he's starting to gain more and more confidence. Chris Ward, before the season started, they were talking about Chris Ward being possibly the premier passer in this league. Well, we have not seen him pass a great deal this year, and when he did, he's in about maybe the 30% range. But he has had an outstanding night at quarterback here this evening.
Well, the first night that we saw the Larrys play against Massena, the Red Raiders had their secondary working at top form that night against Chris Ward. They knew he was going to throw the ball. But apparently tonight, Ward has been able to pick apart that secondary of the Massena Red Raiders. The cream has definitely rose to the top for these two teams. I think you're going to see quite a display here by the Red Raiders, too.
Well, the Red Raiders now, you know that they want to get a rush going.
And he is down back there. He slipped. And that was Matt Lincoln, I believe.
Right, Matt Lincoln.
And Lincoln, who tried to get some kind of good start there after catching the ball, and he slipped back there.
Jamie, you see it on our paperwork up here that the dew is starting to.
Yes, and that was a factor here a while back. There it is right there, and Matt says, oh, boy. Yes, sir.
So we have an excellent football game for you. Playoff action, 10 minutes, 18 seconds to play in our fourth quarter. And the Larrys are down by the score of 21-14. And, Jamie, that fumble in the end zone, ooh, that was a fumble. But they ruled Corey David was down at about the 1-yard line.
I think
that could loom to be a big, big, big play in this football game.
sure could.
There you get a look at Joe Jubinville, former St. Lawrence University assistant coach, quarterback coach, I believe. And he has helped Chris Ward with his career at St. Lawrence Central. Red Raiders with a 2nd down and 5 as they picked up good yardage on their first down, but we have flags all over the field here. We'll have to wait and see. And it's
going to be against Massena.
It looks like it.
And it is.
Lenny Garrow was pointing that way.
And there's a little motion there, and I think it happened on the line itself. I don't think it was in the backfield.
There you go. Look at some of the outstanding crowd here for this Northern Athletic Conference football game. And this has been a beauty. 21-14. We're picking up the St. Lawrence fans here in this second half. There you see our score in the Brazier Quick Stop WEPT 36 Sports scoreboard. Just a super game. The Larrys, we've watched them this year, Jamie. We knew that they were better than they were the first time against Massena because after watching OFA, they really had an outstanding chance to beat OFA.
And a nice run there. Excellent run by Jim Morrell right there. And we have a Larry's player hurt, and it's Jeff Chateau.
And Jim Morrell is slow to get up. Morrell is favoring his knee, so we have a couple of guys down.
And they're key players, too. And Morrell is favoring his right leg as he's going back.
Maybe it's just cramps. Let's hope so. Dick Kootwer out there on the field attending to the injured Jeff Chateau. There you get a look at Bill Jones getting a drink of water. Dr. Doby's now on the field to attend to the injured St. Lawrence Central player. 9:13 remaining in our football game. We'll be back with more right after this.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And Bob Post has been there for over 30 years, serving the people of Massena with complete auto, home, and life insurance coverage. If you're not satisfied with your insurance situation, call Bob Post at 764-0189. Let him give you a quote and see the advantages that State Farm can offer you.
Welcome back to Mike Nicholas Field. We thought it was Jeff Chateau, but it was not. It was Mark Villeneuve. Mark Villeneuve is limping off the field. Let's hope he is okay. So the Red Raiders with a big 3rd down play. They're running the football, and they're close to a 1st down. We'll have to see where they spot it.
Boy, they're very close to one.
Jim Morrell was the ball carrier, and Morrell using that big offensive front line to run behind.
And they may bring the chains out for this. We'll have to wait and see. No.
An official timeout, as they will probably have to bring the chains out to mark this, to check this one. Red Raiders trying to trying to waste some time on the clock as they are up 21-14 and get something going offensively.
Well, you look back to last year when the Larrys went against the Watertown Cyclones in the playoffs after not winning a game all year long. And it was like you brought a whole new ball team out for the 2nd season. It was, and I think that's what we're seeing here. There's something about playoffs that just gets a team up for the game.
3rd and 1, or 4th and 1, check that, as the Red Raiders are short. And there's Tim Hayes. Tim Hayes agonizing over this 4th down play.
And I don't think he can adjust his hat any more than he has. He has adjusted that hat at least 20 times tonight.
So here we go, a big play. The Red Raiders are going to have to kick, though. They elected Mike Bresser. Gets off a good kick, a beauty. And Jeremy Collette called for a fair catch, and he bobbled a little bit. Red Raiders not taking any chances deep in their own zone, at the ball at about the 20-yard line or thereabouts, and with a 4th down and 1, and they did not want to give the Larrys any more momentum than they've got right now. And Mike Bresser with an outstanding punt.
And he is in the kicking department, the leader in the kicking department right now, has 1 field goal, 21 total points, but he is 3rd in punting. in the league right now.
So the Larrys running the option. Chris Ward keeps the football and a good tackle there. As Sean Fauché, who's had a good game here for Massena, both offensively and defensively, comes up to make the tackle.
You know, a lot of coaches might take a look at this, and I know that a number of college coaches this season have spoke about that, about the way the quarterback carries the ball on the option. If he carries the ball too far out in front of him, there's a chance a defender can come along and strip the ball away from him. It's a very dangerous play, but boy, when it clicks, it really works.
That time, no yards, though, as a matter of fact, a loss of 1. Chris Ward now looking downfield. Jeremy Collette covered by Mike Dion, and the ball overthrown. So the Larrys have a 3rd down.
And Collette may have stopped a little bit too fast there, and he is favoring his foot there. I noticed when he went out of bounds, he was favoring it.
And Mike Dion, as he got close to the Red Raider bench, he slipped. So it is getting slippery out there in the field with the dew.
That is becoming very slick out there. You're right, Chip. Well, we can tell. All we got to do is look at our paperwork and the moisture on it.
7:51 to play in our football game. This has been a great one. 21-14. Red Raiders in the lead. Chris Ward dropping back, looking over the middle, and
I think it may have been intercepted.
Mike Dion with the interception, and Jeff Chateau slipped on the play, allowing Dion to make the interception. So the Red Raiders with a big defensive play.
We'll watch it once again. And wow, we'll really watch it.
I thought we were back in the 60s for a minute there.
Wow. Here it is again, Ward back to pass, and oh my.
Chateau had fallen down, and Mike Dion with the interception.
Dion has had quite a game defensively tonight.
He has had a good one.
A key interception, too, for the Red Raiders.
Mike Dion with an interception against Governor. Picking up one there.
Fauché with the ball, but I'll tell you, P.J. Rochford, he is like Houdini back there with the fakes. He has got 3 or 4 players fooled every time, somewhere along the line with these fakes of his.
21-14 our score, 7:06 remaining. Red Raiders in the lead. P.J. Rochford gives the ball up the middle. Red Raiders picking up some good running room as they pick up a 1st down. Sean Fauché.
Red Raiders are going to try to run this clock, but I'll tell you something else, too. The way that the Larrys have been playing, I'm sure the Red Raiders have got touchdown on their mind again.
Oh, yes. They want to get a sustained drive here, and they're off to a good start as they pick up a 1st down there.
They know that if they can run this clock a little bit, plus get a touchdown right here, they can pretty much put it out of reach, but they're going to have to do it here, and I think they've got touchdown on their mind right here.
Austin Rush in the backfield. He goes in motion. And to give us the Rush. Rush follows the block of Jim Morrell, and he picks up great yardage. Finally tackled by Jeremy Collette. And credit Collette with a good play as he had to push off the block of Morrell and then make the tackle that time. We have an official's timeout as this one's going to be close to another 1st down. And once again, the Red Raider offense, though, are starting to open some huge holes, and they're starting to silence the side of the field that the Larrys fans are on, Jamie, as they're starting to move the chains.
Red Raiders doing what they've done well all season long, and that's run that ball. They are just great at it. There's, I guess, no other way to describe it. That has been the heart of their offense this season, is that running game.
And the Larrys elect to call a timeout here with 6 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in our football game. 21-14 our score. We'll be back with more NAC football right after this.
NAC Football and Everest Production Sports is brought to you today by Club 37, located on Tripoli Road, Massena. World of Color, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. By Landerville's Groceries, located on East Dover Street, Massena. Massena Building Supply, located on Water Street, Massena. Bob Post Insurance Agency, located on Maple Street, Massena. Frenchy Chevrolet Olds and Geo, located on East Dover Street, Massena. Blue Royal and Brazier Quick Stop, located on Route 11 across from the arena in Brazier Falls. Michelex Plastics. Great Northern Outfitters, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Susie Travel, located on Main Street in downtown Massena. Hotel Netto, located on Andrew Street in Massena. And by WB Goodnow Insurance Agency, located on Route 11 in Brazier Falls. Once again, thank you to all of our sponsors, bringing you NAC football today here on Edwards Production Sports.
So the Larrys trying to stop the Red Raiders now. Red Raiders with a first down. Inside the 20, and the give is to Sean Fauché. Fauché with running room. Fauché breaks the tackle, gets down inside the 10-yard line. And the Red Raiders...
He is definitely the man you want to give it to in this situation.
Getting that big running game going when they need it, Jamie.
Absolutely. He is a bullet out of that backfield. That offensive line is definitely coming alive here. They've opened up a couple of great holes the last two plays.
Just when the Raiders needed it to get the momentum back. And they have the momentum in their favor right now. Rashford to give us to Fauché. Fauché, you know, that time, we'll have to see who the St. Lawrence Central player was. It was Jared Bryant. Had a hold of Fauché at about the line of scrimmage. And Sean Fauché is such a strong runner, Jamie. He just kept those legs going, and he was able to get maybe 2 or 3 yards. 2nd and goal from the 6.
Red Raiders are running the ball well now. They're back to their regular game plan right here, and they are doing a good job at it right here.
Rush goes in motion to give us to Fauché up the middle. Sean Fauché in for a Massena touchdown.
And the Red Raiders, and Fauché almost with a drive all by himself there with that front line opening up the big holes, is in for a big Massena touchdown, and it is a huge one.
Sean Fauché with his 3rd rushing touchdown in this football game.
Here it is once again, Fauché right down the pipe and in for a big Massena touchdown. And boy, it's really something to watch that Massena Red Raider front line. They really know how to move people out of the way.
Oh boy, there's no doubt about that. Just they do an outstanding job.
How would you like to have that front line in front of you in a busy airport, clearing your way to the terminal gate? I'd love it.
Yeah. So I could think of some other places where I could use it too. Yes. So, 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining here in our football game. A great crowd on hand here at Mike Nicholas Field for this Northern Athletic Conference playoff game. The winner of this game advances next week to take on the winner of tomorrow's game, Jamie, between
the Governor Wildcats and the OFA Blue Devils. And we can wave hello because we're...
If we know where the camera is.
Yes, he's around here somewhere.
Now, where is he? Where is he?
Where is Chris Tabor? He is somewhere out there. Boy, he conceals himself well,
yes, he does. There he is, Chris
There
Tabor.
he is.
Great to have you along with us, folks, for Northern Athletic Conference football. There,
one cameraman on another. You got to look at Gary Edwards up there. Telethon host extraordinaire.
Yes. P.J. Rashford with a keeper, Rashford.
And he's in.
P.J. Rashford in for the 2-point conversion. And the Massena Central Red Raiders now lead this football game by the score of 29-14. 5 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in our football game. Very good look at Rashford. Oh, and he dives in and just gets in the end zone.
And Chris Tabor right in on top with that wireless camera. And we hope that everybody's enjoyed that this season as much as I have.
Yes, that has been a great added feature to Edwards Production Sports.
And Chris has been bringing us some great shots along the sidelines there. There's one there.
So the St. Lawrence Central Larrys have 5 minutes and 40 seconds ago. Very good look at Bobby Flynn. He's got to be disappointed. Has that ankle injury, has not seen any playing time.
He has been an outstanding defensive player this season, and a very, very aggressive one. He made a a comment at the beginning of the show about him reminding me a lot of Bob Brazil, who played for the Houston Oilers. He was a vicious defensive player, but a good one.
Jeff Chateau, after kickoff, Chateau with Corey David to beat it. Corey David with a beautiful tackle.
Corey David standing there like he was waiting for the 5 o'clock train and just collared him when he went by.
St. Lawrence Central have the ball at the Massena 40-yard line, but Corey David with a fine tackle, a touchdown-saving tackle.
Yes, it was, and I think David saw him coming too. Here's the kickoff once again.
Good blocking.
Yes, and down
by the Larrys.
Down he comes, and here he comes, and David is waiting right there, and he says, "Hey, come here."
Yep, you're not going any farther than this.
No, this is where you stop.
So the Larrys have the ball, and Justin Morrow gets no room at all. Corey David, once again, he is fired up.
He certainly is. He knows that they've got to keep St. Lawrence from getting down that field very fast.
And that's the way to stop him right there, Corey David.
What a play by David to grab a hold of his jersey like that and yank him down, or he'd have been gone.
Be interesting to know just how much Corey David is hurting. He has been playing. I'm sure he's heavily taped. Digger Donaldson, I'm sure Corey David spent a lot of time with Digger probably before the game, getting prepared for this football game. All kinds of tape. Here's Jeff Chateau. Chateau breaks down the sideline. Chateau, one man to beat. Corey Lejam.
And a brutal stiff arm, too, by the way. Wow, what a stiff arm that was, and Corey Lejam's head just yanked right back from that stiff arm down the sideline.
4 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in this football game.
Here it is. Here's the give. Watch this stiff arm at the tail end of this. Lejam is right there, and there's that stiff arm, and man, ooh.
Chateau goes out of bounds close to the 15-yard line. Call it the 14. And the give is to Jeff Chateau, trying to break outside, but Sean Fauché says, no, not this time.
Nice play by Sean Fauché to cut that off before it had a chance to get started right there. Excellent play by Fauché.
Pretty good respect right there. Sean Fauché helps Jeff Chateau up, and they both pat one another as both outstanding running backs and both outstanding football players. Larry's now Ward looking. Throwing the ball for Bill Jones.
Oh, and man, Jones was waiting for that one to get there.
And it is incomplete. We had to wait and see on that one. Chris Ward throwing the football into the corner of the end zone.
Nice play there by Austin Rush to get in there and break that up. We'll watch it once again. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see Jeremy Collette and Jones, and there's Jones. He's waiting for that ball. What a play by Rush right there to tip that ball away from Jones, or he'd have been in.
They were both going for the football, Rush and Jones. Now Ward dropping back. He's got pressure this time. He gets away. Let's see in the end zone. And Jeremy Collette slips, but the ball was behind him. I'm not sure because the Red Raiders coverage was pretty good that time, as over there was, I believe, Mike Dion. No, Austin Rush and Corey Lejam.
Excellent coverage in the secondary that time by Massena. They covered up real good that time to prevent that touchdown, but I don't think Collette would have got his hands on it anyway, as the ball, I think, was overthrown.
This has been a super game. Red Raiders with a great defensive rush that time.
Here it is once again, and yes, I don't think Collette would have got to that, but man, did he ever go down hard when he slipped.
Chris Ward showing his athletic ability and scrambling, and Jeremy Collette open momentarily, but 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in this football game. There you see our score on the Brazier Quick Stop WEPT Cable 36 Sports scoreboard.
We've seen some great playing by both teams tonight. We've seen some great action in the secondary. Massena lacked a little bit in the secondary there for a while, but they seem to have found it again, and they've covered up nicely here.
And I'm sure that the rush helps, obviously. You know, when you get the offensive rush on the quarterback, he doesn't have that time to look downfield, and Red Raiders rushed to Chris Ward that time.
And Ward has been pretty accurate here lately, and you can't give him very much time. If you give him too much time, he's going to connect.
St. Lawrence Central Larrys, who lost by 26 here a couple weeks ago. There you look at some of the fine crowd on hand here.
Red Raiders have had some great crowds here this season.
Probably close to 2,000 again here this evening at Mike Nicholas Field. Chris Ward dropping back on 4th down. Ward looking in the end zone, fires the ball, and it's incomplete.
Oh, my. And it looked as if he was trying to hit.
Jamie Thurrott, maybe?
It could be, coming across the middle. And that's what it looked like, yes. Jamie Thurrott was coming across the middle, and Ward let a bullet go right into coverage, in fact.
And the Larrys give up the ball on downs. Here we get a look at it again.
Here's the play right here, Ward, and he really guns this ball to Thurrott, but he is well covered in that Massena secondary.
Tim Carbonell was down there also in on the coverage.
And I dare say that a lot of these defensive plays in that first part of the first half and somewhat here in the second half, Carbonell has been in on a lot of them tonight.
Tim Carbonell has played well here tonight, has an interception. So the Red Raiders take over 1st and 10 deep in their own territory. And they give the ball up the middle to Sean Fauché. He picks up about 3 on the play. Call it 2nd and 7.
Massena pretty much wants to keep control of the clock right here, I think, Chip. I think that is...
Down to 3 minutes and 25 seconds in running.
They'll want to control this clock as much as they possibly can right here and just hang on to the ball.
If anything, the Massena Central Red Raiders know that they were in a football game here.
Ooh, and that is definitely a procedure play right there. I don't know whether they've any contact was made.
I believe the infraction is against Massena, offsides.
See them get off that line. In fact, 2 or 3 players missed that count.
Some of the crowd now starting to file out of Mike Nicholas Field. Now the give is to Jim Morrell. Morrell sidesteps 1 tackle. Morrell picks up pretty good yardage.
Nice run by Jim Morrell. And he has had quite himself a game the last couple of games.
The only thing about that is he got out of bounds, and that favors St. Lawrence Central because the clock stops, Jamie.
He had a good gain there, but I don't think he got a first down. And do we see a penalty flag laying there in the field?
Looks like it.
Yes, we do.
Unless it's that...
Oh. Is it? No, it isn't.
It's against Massena.
My God.
And the Red Raiders are backed up even further in their own zone.
Well, you and I talked about the inadvertent penalty flag business in the NFL in the half. Well, right. I thought we were going to see it right there.
Yes.
Sometimes that flag does get, they just stick it barely into the back pocket, and sometimes it'll just drop out if it's just hanging there.
Right. Under 3 minutes in our football game, down to about 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Rochford gives the ball to Morrell. Jim Morrell picks up a few yards, but the Red Raiders now have a 3rd down and about 14 coming up.
Even though
their own zone.
Even though they've had the penalties, Chip, the clock will still run, and then it stops on the penalty. But it still is ticking time off the clock.
Yes, and that is in their favor. This has been an exciting football game. It was...
Yes, it has.
14-0 at the half. And the Red Raiders came out, scored on their first possession of the second half to make it 21-0. But the Larrys came back with a touchdown of their own, as it was probably a 60-yard drive and a 43-yard pass from Chris Ward to Jeremy Collette as he got behind the Massena secondary.
Both of these teams have played excellent football tonight. We haven't seen too many turnovers or mistakes. We've seen a couple of fumbles, but not a lot of fumbles. And I know that the Governor Wildcats and the OFA Blue Devils, the last time they played against each other, it was, I believe, a 1 or 2 point affair. So whoever comes up against whichever team here tonight can have their work cut out for them, I think.
Governor stopped the 2-point conversion that would have tied the game. So that should be a good game tomorrow. Mike Bressard punting the football, and Red Raider coaching staff happy with the kick as gets him out of trouble, as Bressard was punting that ball from deep in his own zone, and he got the ball close to the 40-yard line.
Special teams this year for Massena have been excellent as well, Chip. They have really done their job, too.
They have, through most of the season.
Well, we see some pink smoke here on the sideline. What is that?
There you see our score. Massena Central 29, St. Lawrence Central 14 with 1:02 remaining. Is that your cigar, Jamie?
No, it isn't.
Oh,
I thought there was going to be a genie come out of that thing or something. I don't know what that was.
Now Chris Ward drops straight back, throwing downfield, and it is Courtney. Rufa gets behind Ryan Kerwin, and hey, don't go away yet. This football game, St. Lawrence Central put 6 points on the board just like that.
What a catch by Rufa. Nate Rufa, what a saver there.
Here it is.
Back to pass goes Ward, and he rifles one down to Rufa, and there is Rufa. He is off to the races, and he beats
Ryan Kerwin.
Yes. And I'll tell you, that was... And Rufa was on the dead run, too.
So a big fourth down, or a big two-point conversion here now.
Real
for the
big.
Larrys. Ward rolling out, looking, and the throw is, his pass is knocked down.
And I think Sean Fauché got a piece of that. I think Fauché was right in his face when he went to throw that.
Maybe Mike Bresser. Just 55 seconds remaining in this football game, and our score, 29-20, in favor of the Massena Central Red Raiders. And that was a big, maybe Bresser got his hand on that and blocked that two-point conversion pass.
Well,
that was a big play, really.
Oh, that was a real
That's
big
huge.
play right there. That was a huge two-point play right there, because if they had converted that, and then the Larrys had gone on the, which they more than likely are going to do for the onside kick, and gotten the ball back, then it really would have been trouble. But I am pretty sure we're going to see the onside kick here.
Oh.
Or we're going to see something resembling that. Here is this,
I would guess,
little squib kick business off the grass routine.
I believe this play worked like 3 times last year in that playoff game against Watertown for St. Lawrence Central. And I think they recovered all 3 times.
Larrys are lining up, and this is not an easy kick to try to get. You want the good hands people out there for this one.
Boy. Here it is. It's the squib kick. And let's see who falls on it. The Red Raiders do their job.
Yes, they do, and they get that ball.
And maybe Jim Morrell. I'm not sure. Number 10.
Number 10 for the Red Raiders.
Jensen Messup.
And once again, here it is on the replay. And the whirlybird effect by the football, but nice grab by Messup. And that was not an easy ball to handle either. Nice grab. And the Red Raiders definitely have one thing on their mind right now, and that is run this clock for all it is worth. And don't let the Larrys get the ball back again. That is on their mind right now.
Red Raiders.
And oh my, we may have trouble with a snap right there.
30 seconds and the clock is running. Second down here.
I think
Jamie, we can start wrapping this one up right now, but I'll tell you, this has been an excellent high school football game.
Well, this has been an excellent, excellent game right here, and both teams are to be commended.
You know, the Red Raiders have had their way most of the season, Jamie, with a lot of their opponents, but here tonight, they know they were in a football game, and this was more indicative, I felt, and I know you felt, of how St. Lawrence Central could play. The first time the Red Raiders played them, I did not think St. Lawrence Central played very well after as many times as we have seen them play this year.
Well, Chad Edwards and I pointed this out in the pregame show that everybody was not going to see the same team again. And we didn't. We saw a completely different squad out here tonight. But one of the things that the Massena Red Raiders did well tonight is earlier on their secondary was being hit on real hard by Chris Ward. In the second half, that didn't seem to happen as much, even though Ward was able to get off a couple of good passes there, and they were big scores for the Larrys. That secondary covered up nicely for Massena in that second half.
Well, and I think the main reason being was the Red Raider defensive front line and the linebackers put a little bit more pressure on Chris Ward and didn't give him as much time to throw later on in the game as they did maybe, say, earlier in the third quarter when the Larrys were coming back. But just a super high school game. I know Massena probably will look at this and, you know, the coaching staff may not be real happy with the way they played tonight. But, hey, this may be a wake-up call, too. Hey, The playoffs are here, guys, and everybody's going to be up now, and you better be up.
It is definitely a W, and we, if you take a look at what's coming up next, the Red Raiders are going to have to take on the Gouverneur Wildcats of the OFA Blue Devils, and they're not a pushover. We've had a look at them this season, and they're not two easy teams to get by either.
And we want to let you know that this game has been an Edwards production, and any rebroadcast, reproduction, or retransmission of this game without the express written consent of Edwards Productions is strictly prohibited. Our cameramen for tonight's game have been Gary Edwards and Chris Tabor. Just a super game. This game has been produced and directed by Chad Edwards in our bus. Jamie, once again, a fine crowd here. The majority of these fans here at the Massena at Mike Nicholas Field here going away happy as they see their Red Raiders win, but a great contingent down from Brazier Falls to watch this game.
Just a great game all the way around. Both teams are to be commended for the game that they played. The absolutely fantastic football game.
We want to thank Cap Carey from the Watertown Times for his help with the statistics at halftime. And for my colleague Jamie Davis and our entire Edwards Productions sports broadcast team, I'm Chip Chapman. Have a pleasant night, everybody.